Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing and check out our Patreon for more. Enjoy the video. We got married in a church, like most people do. My wife looked beautiful in her full-length white dress with a long train and veil. A picture of beauty, as they say. All the oohs and ahs made me feel very lucky to be getting married to this beautiful woman. We had a normal middle-class life after that. When you were younger, you probably dreamed of having a house, 2 kids, and a pet hamster. I've always wanted to take my wife to Las Vegas on one of our anniversaries and get married again. This dream seemed to be about getting new homes, cars, and kids. After putting away pennies for 20 years, I finally had enough to go. In February, I told my wife that we would spend our anniversary in Vegas. I asked her if she would remarry me in one of the chapels, and she said yes. I made the calls and got our tickets and reservations set up. We'd stay at the Riviera at the end of the strip. I also liked staying there because they have a show with a woman who acts like a man. I'm a crossdresser, and I wanted to see the show so I could learn from the pros. Everything was set, and we left for Nevada 2 days before our anniversary. We held hands and talked like we were young lovers on the flight. As soon as we left the Midwest, all of our daily worries went away. We got to the hotel and everything went well. The staff was helpful and our room was nice. Before we renewed our vows, we had 2 days to gamble, see sights, and go to shows. We did that on the first day. By the time we were done for the day, it was 2 a.m. We decided to get some sleep. The phone rang at 9. Nicole said, "Thank you," when she heard it. She put the phone down and told me to get up because we were going to be late. I asked, "Late for what?" "We have meetings at 10, so we need to shower and eat breakfast quickly," she said. I asked again, "Appointments? What for?" She said, "It's my surprise. Now hurry up." We were ready to go after a quick shave and shower. Nicole told us to eat light, so we went to McDonald's across the street for a quick breakfast. The buffet at the Riviera would have to be put off. Then at 9:55, we walked back to the hotel, which my wife says was right on time. It was hard to keep up with her because she walked quickly. On the Riviera, she went straight to the hair salon. As we walked in, a friendly voice asked, "Can I help you?" Nicole said, "We have an appointment with Joy at 10 o'clock. The receptionist's name tag said, "Candy." She said, "Oh, yes, here it is. I'll let her know you're both here. Would you like to sit down for a minute?" We both said thank you, and then moved over to a seat. "So, what's going on?" I asked again. "It's a surprise. I can't tell you. That would ruin it." Nicole looked at me with a big smile. I knew that if I kept bugging her, she would give in and tell me everything. I was about to ask one more time when something came up. "Hi, I'm Joy. You must be Nicole and John. We're ready for both of you. Nicole, stay here, and John, follow me." We walked a little further down the hall and into a 12 by 13-foot room. Nicole's cubicle was a lot bigger than this room. "This is where you'll work. Put on this robe. When you're ready, just open the door and someone will come get you," Joy said with a smile. "Do you have any questions?" she asked. "Yes, I do." "What's going on?" "Nicole has been very secretive, so I don't know what's going on," I replied. "Since Nicole hasn't told you, I won't either. Just go with what's about to happen, and I'm sure you'll have fun," Joy said as she shut the door. I took my first look around the room. Wedding dresses and formal gowns of all kinds were in plastic bags and hung on a rack. I knew Nicole would be in here, looking for a dress for when we renew our wedding vows the next day. If you're just renewing your vows, I guess it's okay to see the dress. I went to a small bench in the corner and started putting on the robe. It was short and silky, like a robe a woman would wear, but we were in a salon for women. When I opened the door a little, a bell rang. A man poked his head around the corner about 30 seconds later. "My name is Rob, and I'm here to help you. Shall we start?" he asked. I asked, "Transformation? What transformation?" Rob said, "We have 3 hours to make you look like a blushing bride. I can tell by the look on your face that this is a surprise." I couldn't say anything. I could feel my mouth moving, but nothing came out. Rob said, "I'm in the hotel's female impersonator show, and my job this morning is to make you look like a beautiful bride. Let's get started so you don't miss your wedding." A bride? Me? How? To say I was surprised would be putting it mildly. I just didn't seem to be able to think fast enough. Rob led me to a booth and told me to lay back and take it easy. First, they shaved my body hair so short that it was only half an inch long everywhere. It's great, but the room is getting colder. After that, we went to a different room that was full of wigs. There had to be 100 on their heads, and there were boxes everywhere with more in them. Rob and Candy were looking at my face, and then at the wigs. At last, Candy took 2 and Rob took 2. They brought the wigs over, and we tried them all on to see which would look best. They finally chose one that was just a little lighter brown than my own hair and fell to the top of my shoulder blades. Rob said, "We can work with this length. Depending on the dress she chooses, we can put her hair up or leave it down." "Let's go! We don't have much time," Candy said. The nail station was the next stop. Candy started to work on my toes. She scrubbed them with salt before putting on a cherry red polish. She said it was so my feet would look cute. Then I had to stay still while she filed my nails and put tips on them. I was told that my nails are long for a man, but not long enough for a woman. After filling and filing everything, Candy added a base coat, a color, and then a clear coat to finish the nails. Even though my ring finger was a size 12, my hands looked pretty girly. "Come with me to look for your wedding dress." "By the way, what girl's name should we call you?" asked Candy. "You'll stop looking like a boy soon." "I don't know. I've never given myself a girl's name. Mom said my name would have been Nicole, but that's my wife's name, so I don't want to use it," I said. "Let's choose your dress and then start your makeup," Candy said. "Maybe when you see yourself, you'll think of a name." We went back to the room where I had changed, and Rob was busy putting out all the dresses in my size and all the veils so I could choose. I couldn't believe there were 9 dresses in my size, all of which were bigger than a size 10. Rob said Rob reached into a box and took out what he called a bracelet. It was a white lace body shaper that did both jobs. The box said that it had light boning to slim and cinch the waist. Rob and Candy spent some time putting all the hooks and eyes on the back. Back there were quite a few. I knew I would need help to get out of the clothes because they were too tight. When I looked in the mirror, I could tell that it did help me get in better shape. I had never felt anything like that before. Without hair on your legs, you feel very different. Because of the nail tips, it was hard for me to hook the garters together, but I finally did it right. Shoes were in some boxes that Candy carried over. I tried on a classic white pump, a white open-toed pump, and a pair of crisscross sandals that went over the arch of my foot. All 3 had heels of 3 inches, but none of them were stilettos. All of them had a block heel to make walking easier. We all agreed that the sandals were the best-looking shoes. This made me happy because you could see my nail polish through the stockings. Rob led me to the gowns hanging around the room and said, "Now choose one that makes you look beautiful." "How are we going to choose? They're all so pretty." I said, "Let's start here and try them on." Candy smiled and said, "You'll know when you have the gown on." So we started trying on sleeveless, short-sleeved, long-sleeved, lace-sleeved, plain skirts, lace skirts, skirts with pearls, and skirts without pearls. It happened on the 8th dress I tried on. After slipping into it and Candy zipping it up, I turned to the mirror and just stared at myself. It's beautiful. I love it so much. I never left the mirror. I turned one way, then the other, and finally I turned as far as I could to see how it looked from the back. This dress was perfect. It had a V neckline in the front and back and long net sleeves with rose medallions all along the arms. The bodice fit well and was covered in roses and pearls that got smaller as you looked down toward the skirt. In my heels, the front of the skirt stopped about an inch from the floor. The hem of the dress was made to look like baby's breath with lace and pearls. It had a medium-length train that could be easily bustled. I knew in my heart that this was the dress I would wear. I told Rob and Candy, "This is it, you're right." I knew as soon as I put it on. Well, that cuts down the choices for veils. Candy picked up 4 veils to put away. Why not one of those? "They have silver or gold in them?" I asked. Rob said, "They would take away from your dress. I think one of these 3 will work." I tried on each veil, and it was hard to choose between the 2 that were left. In the end, I went with a veil that started with a ring of flowers and ended with a blusher that came down to the top of my dress in the front and to my butt in the back. With my hair up, it finished the look, and when I flipped it back, it made a beautiful two-tiered frame for my face. With every step we took, I looked more and more like the beautiful bride. Now that we've decided on your outfit, we'll take you out of it so we can do your hair and makeup, Candy said. I was a little sad to take off my wedding veil and dress. When you wear the dress, you really feel like a star. I helped put the dress on the hanger and then put the robe back on. Candy took me across the hall to a stylist's chair. She told me to sit down, and then she began to play with my hair. First, she made sure that the clips on the wig were secure. Then, she used a few bobby pins to make sure that my hair stayed in place. Then she combed some of it forward to make bangs and cut the rest of it to just above my eyebrows. The rest of my hair was pulled back and up to the back of my head, a little higher than a high ponytail. Then she added clips and wound things around until it looked like a fountain was coming out of the back of my head. The last step was to use a curling iron to curl the hair under in 4 different directions. With just a little hairspray, the back of my head looked like a flower had been carved into it. Candy finished my hair by slightly curling my bangs under and spraying them to keep them in place. When I looked at myself in the mirrors, everything was perfect. When we put the veil on, you could still see the flower in the back through the netting. No matter what, my hair was beautiful. She told me to pay close attention as she did my makeup so I could learn how to do it myself. First, she tried 3 different bottles of foundation on my face until she found the right one for my skin. Candy told me as she worked, "You want your skin to look clear and clean, so the foundation needs to be the right shade and put on very lightly. It should look fresh, not caked on. First, we use a beard cover to hide the hair on your face. It looks funny now, but after the foundation, it will look smooth." It was strange to see an orange color all over my beard area. Then Candy would mix a little moisturizer with the foundation and put it on my face slowly and evenly to cover everything. Then Candy took a clear powder and brushed it over the foundation to set it. After a few minutes, she brushed off the extra, and when I looked in the mirror, my face was smooth, and there was no sign of a beard. Candy told me, "I like to start with the eyes, so just lean back and let me do my thing." The chair swung back, and Candy started working on my eyes. She started by putting a plum-colored eyeshadow on my lid, then put a gray pencil in the crease of his eyelid. She used her finger to mix the colors together so they looked good. Above the lid was a light lavender color that helped open my eyes, and on the top of my brow was a small dot of pearl white. She used her fingers to mix everything so that each color flowed into the next. Then a brown eyeliner, and finally, a very dark black mascara. After that, Candy used an eyelash brush to separate my eyelashes. She said, "Most women would go wild for eyelashes this long and curly. Let's finish up here," she said. She stood my chair up and then used a light blush to make my cheeks look like a bride's. Then she opened a tube of lipstick in the color cherry red. The color went well with my nails. First, a little lip liner to help keep the lipstick where it should be. Then the lipstick, which was put on with a brush for better control. It was over. I was facing the mirror. Now, it would be a lie to say that I was beautiful or stunning. I did look more feminine than I ever had before, though. The way her hair and makeup looked made it look like she was getting ready to marry her true love. I smiled and said, "Thank you so much. I actually look very nice. I didn't think that was possible." Then I bent down and gave Candy and Rob each a hug. I was about to cry, but I stopped myself so I wouldn't ruin my makeup. Rob reminded her, "We need to hurry because you only have 20 minutes left before you march down the aisle." We walked across the room and I put on the dress. It was easy to put on and closed right away. Last, Candy put the veil on my head and held it in place with a pin. Candy put a pearl drop necklace around my neck and put 2 pearl earrings with clips on them. The last piece of my jewelry was a small pearl bracelet. Rob was standing by the door with 2 bouquets. He gave me the bigger one and said, "Now turn this way and smile for me, both of you." Flash! Flash, flash, flash. Candy said, 3 pictures. 1 for each of us. Now, hurry up, your husband is waiting. Have you thought of a name yet? Right now, you don't look like a John. I looked in the mirror and said, "Hi, Lisa," so I figured Lisa Elizabeth would be fine. We left the room and went to the front of the salon as that comment kept ringing in my ears. Rob led me down a few hallways. People in the casino were looking at us, but everyone we passed smiled and wished us luck. But I couldn't help but smile and say thank you to everyone who spoke to me. I turned a corner and saw about 20 people in the chapel. I was getting nervous. I thought, in for a penny, and started walking down the aisle, stopping at each step as instructed. When I saw it was Nicole, I was blown away. Her hair was darker and styled in a way that a man would do. She wore a traditional black tux and white shirt. She had sideburns that went to the middle of the ears and what looked like shadows of beards. We looked like any two people who were in love and getting married. To put it mildly, I was very nervous. When I got to the front of the church, I could feel my cheeks getting warmer, so I moved slowly to stand next to my husband. My dearly loved, I can still remember that part of the ceremony. I remember saying, "I do," and Nicole putting a new wedding ring on my finger. All the middle parts are kind of fuzzy and mixed up, which I think is just nerves. Anyway, the music started, and as husband and wife, we walked down the aisle hand in hand. During the whole ceremony, there was a photographer taking pictures of what was going on. Now that the ceremony was over, he asked us to come back into the chapel for the formal photos. Since our wedding party was so small, they didn't take long. The photographer followed us out and told us to follow him because there would be a small party after the wedding. When we walked into a small room, there was a small wedding cake, some punch, and a bottle of champagne. The minister, the organist, Rob, and Candy all came in to celebrate with us. The party was short, but it was great. Nicole camped out while she took off my garter, so I threw my bouquet. When everything was over, the photographer said he wanted a few more pictures of me being carried across. This threw me off. Nicole isn't weak, but why should she carry me? I had to see this. When we got to the room, the photographer took over. Did you know that a whole bar stool can fit under a wedding dress? The picture makes it look like I'm being carried across the threshold, but in reality, I'm sitting on a bar stool and my husband is only holding up my legs. He was finally done, and he told us that we could pick up our wedding album tomorrow after 2 p.m. On his way out, he shut the door. Nicole smiled as she walked toward me. She asked, "Were you surprised?" "Yes, I was. The wedding and reception have been great. I love you so much." Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out Patreon for a lot more content and early access to YouTube videos.